Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we are now back with Ella. Remember, Ella is only 15 at this point. Alec Lacham is only 15 at this point. They have not yet met. We're doing Ella's story. Anyway, let's get back to Ella. Leaving Cinderella behind, I hightailed it to Central Park. Soon I reached the turtle pond. Still pretty early, so no one's here yet. This is what's so cool about Central Park, by the way. It's actually a lot of little parks. Places like this pond feel all cosy and deserted, or in my case, safe to cast a spell. Closing my eyes, I pull on the fae power within me. Mum and I are swarm fae. It means we can make creatures group up and do stuff. For instance, I could inspire a bunch of mice to clean the floors. Don't get too excited though, mice suck at housework. Which brings me back to the present moment. What I need now is some turtle-shaped assistance. A haze of silver light materializes over my right palm. Yes, the spell is starting. I command the magic into the water while I think through my desire. Come to me. Aid me. Tiny glistening particles of fairy dust tumble off my hand and onto the still pond. Moments pass. The nearby trees rustle in the morning breeze. The low murmur of far-off voices and car horns seem to turn deafeningly loud. At last, a dozen turtles pop their heads above the water. The largest speaks in a rumbly voice. I am Mayan Shell. I grin. I can't really practice my fae power. That could blow my cover, so I wasn't sure this spell would work. And when I do cast swarm spells, it's either on mice or pigeons. Turtles are new for me. Nice to meet you, I wave. I'm Ella. You require our help? Yes. There's a crown at the bottom of the pond. I'd like you to bring it to me, if you don't mind. Fact is, my magic could just force the turtles to help out, but I like to be polite. Also, you never know who's actually an evil wizard enchanted to be a tortoise or something. What? Angel gives me one of those shocked turtle faces, where he gulps for air. You mean the Queen of Hearts crown? That's the one. Are you certain? There are many kinds of fae in the fairylands, such as pixies, sprites, fairies, and elves. Don't forget the Shadow Corps. That's right. Trolls, vampires, dwarves are all natives of the fairylands as well. Yet none of them is more dangerous than the Queen of Hearts. And no reward will be better, am I right? Possibly. Definitely. I'm not leaving here without the crown. I could try to enchant the thing out of the pool, but that would involve using my father's magic, which I've never so much touched. I really need your help here. As you command. Iron Shell pops under the water. His other buddies follow. A long minute ticks by. The surface of the pond churns as the turtles do their thing. Splash! A blob of brown goop breaks through the water's surface to land beside my feet with a plop. Within all the slime, I make out the gleam of rubies. So far, so good. Kneeling down, I pull on my fae magic once more. This time, the silver dust cascades from my hand to cover the blob of goo. Wherever the magic touches, the scummy bits melt away. Seconds later, there's only a tall crown that's covered in rubies. A giant heart-shaped gem marks the front. You better run on now, says Angel. It's not safe to carry such jewels. I chuckle. It's far less safe for a fairy warden to openly use her magic, but there's no way I'm volunteering that fact out loud. I slip the crown into my purse. It's a tight fit, but it works. Thank you, Iron Shell. Be safe, Ella. With that, my new buddy vanishes under the water once more. I check my watch. That only took 20 minutes. This morning's so-called walk in the park is going great. From here, it's a short hike to Central Park's Belvedere Castle. It's a small structure made of grey stone that sits atop a low hill. And it's where the Queen of Hearts keeps her court. As I close in on the Belvedere Castle, I pull on my powers of Fey sight. For me, this is much less dangerous than casting an actual spell. Even the least powerful fairy can see the truth of the world around them. And what do we view? A fairyland reality that overlaps with the human one. Scanning the world around me, I call to its parallel fair nature. Flecks of silver light gleam in my eyes. My powers come to life. Everything changes. The thin walkway beneath my feet overlaps with another image. A grand street made of white stone. The woods of Central Park flicker between their regular brown trunks and green branches into tall white trees with red, heart-shaped leaves. The small structures of Belvedere Castle slowly morph into a massive palace. Warriors in red armour flank either side of the entrance. These are the Queen's infamous vampire guard. As I close in on the palace gate, more of the human world fades away. By the time I'm facing an actual guard, I'm completely inside Fairylands. "State your name," orders a guard. "Ella, Cinder," I reply. The guard now does something I didn't expect. He steps backward. "Go on inside. She's expecting you." My first reaction is shock, but I quickly hide that under a mask of casual confidence. When facing a vampire fairy queen, it's important not to cower. "Excellent," I state. The heavy wooden gate swings open, revealing the palace's interior, as well as a cat. And this is not just any feline, it's the Cheshire Cat of Alice in Wonderland fame. The creature tilts its head. "Hello, Ella." Turns out the Cheshire Cat has a deep and rumbly voice. Not what I expected, but on this feline it totally works. "Hi, call me Chesh. It's what everyone does." The cat spins about and saunters into the palace proper. I follow behind, and for the first time, I wonder if this is actually the best idea. The interior of the palace is all white stone, inlaid with red, heart-shaped tiles. Cheshire and I enter the receiving room, which holds a vaulted ceiling and tons of courtiers. Everyone dresses in medieval style, like they stepped off a deck of cards. In the centre of the chamber, the Queen of Hearts sits on a red throne, rests atop a raised platform. She's tall and curvy with cocoa skin and long red hair. The folds of her crimson gown roll down the steps, leading to her throne. Her red wings flutter as I enter. Everyone quiets. Uh-oh. I give my best curtsy. "Greetings, Your Majesty. My name is Ella, and I've brought your—" "I know why you're here," interrupts the Queen. She raises her arm. The crown flies out of my purse to land directly on her outstretched hand. The Queen scans the item as if it were no more than a trinket she found on the street. "Why did you uncover this?" I shrug. "There's a reward." "And why would you want that?" The Queen grins. There's no missing the fangs that mark her as a vampire. "I'm a Cinderella life template. Rewards will come in handy." "So, you're preparing for the worst." The Queen narrows her eyes. "You could use magic." I'm a fairy without wings. I don't have that much magic. No one does these days. "I do. But you're right about the rest of the world." The Queen scans me slowly from head to toe. "You're curious. Far more than any Alice life templates I've met in ages." My heart swells with pride. Turns out, it's nice to get compliments from the Queen. "Thank you." "Who are your parents?" "Ray and Declan Cinder." The Queen stands. "Did you say Ray and Declan Cinder?" I feel like there's a trap in this question, but I can't imagine what it could be. "Yes. Oh, this is good. Too good. I'll provide your reward. And it's a prophecy. That trapped feeling grows larger. The queen didn't even cast a spell or anything. How do you know this prophecy off the top of your head? Believe me, I do. So, do you accept that as your reward? Fair tricky, but something about the gleam in the queen's eye reminds me of someone. All right, that would be me. The queen is crafty but not evil. At least, not at this very moment. Plus, I've already risked a ton to come over here. What's one more thing? Yes, I'd like to hear the prophecy. Perfect. The queen slowly takes her throne. My vision for you is this. You'll lose your parents, and Lady Marchesa will become your stepmother. Do you disagree? I'm a Cinderella life template. It's not like the thought ever crossed my mind. And Marchesa also has 2 daughters. Let's not forget that part. Totally template ready. Here's what you do not know, adds the queen. Your stepmother will form an alliance with none other than Legend Lecham in order to keep you from your true love. The Legend Lecham, I ask, of the Lecham jewelry fortune, as in the husband of Diamond Lecham. I don't know these two personally, obviously, but their faces get plastered on tabloids at least once a week. That's what I said, repeats the queen. Marchesa and Legend Lecham. So those two will team up and separate me from my true love. And then what? The queen sighs. Oh, then nothing. That's it. Frustration corkscrews up my back. It may be reckless of me to get angry, but that's a pretty crappy reward. After all, her crown sat at the bottom of the pond for centuries. You don't have anything else for me? Chesh sidles to the top step of the queen's day. Curiouser and curiouser, he says. The queen runs her fingertips down Chesh's back. The cat does that move where he arches his spine and pokes his tail in the air. The queen leans in closer to Chesh. Ella doesn't know the whole story, does she? I raise my hand. I'm standing right here. I would love the whole story. Chesh slowly licks his forepaws. Think of it this way, Ella. The Queen of Hearts fixes problems. Anything. She could clear the way for you and your true love. I may even have reasons to want to help you. But not for free, adds Jess. Never for free, agrees the Queen. I have a reputation to think of. Ella must find something else of value for your majesty, says Chesh. It's the only way to secure your aid. Chesh then smiles in a way that makes my stomach sink to my toes. In that moment, one thing becomes absolutely clear. It's time to leave. I make my goodbyes and walk out of the chamber. And for whatever reason, the Queen of Hearts allows me to go without saying another word. That might be the most troubling part of it all. So, that's the next part of, of Ella. So one of the first let me just break it down for you here. So one of the first pieces of jewellery that she ever collects, knowing her life is doomed, is the Queen of Hearts crown. What has the Queen of Hearts just told her? That her stepmother is going to basically get to know Legend Lecham and keep her away from her true love. We now know from Briar Rose, her true love's Alec Lecham. You see, there's a reason they are not together in that story, guys. We're going to find out everything through Ella's story. But I just wanted to remind you that Ella and Alec, all the way through Briar Rose, they were not together because of family complications. Here you are. Now, we also know that Ella's saying she's got no wings, but she loses her wings in order to get away from her stepfamily, which has not happened yet, so that's a bit confusing. I guess we'll find out more as we read along. But there has been quite a few mistakes in Briar Rose that I've looked back on, and the author made some big mistakes in the storyline. Hopefully this one goes smoother. So anyway, now we get the picture. Ella's going to be kept away from her true love, and she knew that from the Queen of Hearts at age 15. But at that time, she's probably thinking, whatever, like, she doesn't care, right? She's only 15 and not thinking about that. But we get to why maybe they are not together in the Briar Rose story. It could have something to do with this. When we come back, we'll head over to Alec Lasham and see what he's up to. Many blessings.